Vrindavan Part 1, Mandal, Uttar Pradesh, India.
From the Garga Samhita. The complete and original personality of Godhead, Janardana, Sri Krishna, the Lord of all the unlimited universes and the transcendental Goloka sphere, descended to the earth to relieve its burden, caused by demons, so he told his beloved Radha, "O dearest one! O shy girl! Come along with me to earth." Radha said, "Wherever there is no Vrindavana, no river Yamuna, no Mount Govardhana, there my mind does not wish to go." After this, Hari personally sent this land of a 168 miles circumference, complete with the Govardhana Mount and the Yamuna River, to the surface of the earth. This 84 krosa or 168-mile Vrindavana has 24 forests and is praised by all the people. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead Lord Sri Krishna descends to earth for performing his transcendental pastimes, he brings with him his own eternal abode known as Goloka Vrindavana, along with his most intimate associates, friends, servants, and various other transcendental paraphernalia. Just like a king who goes to another country takes with him his personal friends, family members, ministers and secretaries, as part of his royal retinue. The Lord's transcendental abode, which is also known as the Dhamma, is non-different from the Lord's eternal abode in the spiritual world. In fact, it is an exact replica. By mundane material vision, the Dhamma may appear like any other place on earth, but to the pure devotees and perfect yogis, the Dhamma is a completely spiritual abode saturated with its own transcendentally surcharged atmosphere. How to get there? Vrindavan is around 16 kilometers from Mathura. You can get train to Mathura Kent on regular basis. Auto and taxi services are available to take you to Vrindavan. Keria Airport, AGR, Agra, Uttar Pradesh is the nearest domestic airport, a distance of 53 kilometers. International passengers can land at Indira Gandhi International Airport, DEL, New Delhi, 128 kilometers, and take a taxi to go to Vrindavana. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the most munificent incarnation of God, was known as the Golden Avatar. He was the direct incarnation of Lord Sri Krishna and appeared on earth at the holy place known as Navadvipa in West Bengal in the year 1486. The purpose of his divine appearance on earth was to reveal to the world the Yoga Dharma, or the religion for this age. He also rediscovered the most sacred places of Vrindavana which had been lost in time. It was in the year 1515 that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited Vrindavana, with the purpose of locating the lost holy places associated with Lord's transcendental pastimes. By his divine spiritual power, he was able to locate all the important places of Lord Krishna's pastimes in and around Vrindavana. After a few months, Lord Chaitanya left for Jagannath Puri and directed two of his dearmost followers, Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis, to proceed immediately to Vrindavana, not only to excavate the places of Lord Krishna's pastimes but also to write books on the science of Bhakti Yoga, in order to establish the teachings of Lord Chaitanya for the benefit of all future generations. The two brothers Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis were ordered by Lord Chaitanya in the year 1516 to go and live in Vrindavana. In their sacred mission, Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis were ably assisted by Ranatadasa, Ranatabhata, Gopalabhata Goswami and Jiva, who altogether formed the famous transcendental group, the Six Goswamis of Vrindavana. When they first came to Vrindavana, it was just a large forest, and at night they would sleep under the trees. They dressed only in simple kaupins, loincloths, and subsisted on forest roots and dry chapatis obtained by begging alms, matu kauri. The Six Goswamis hardly slept more than 2 hours a day and spent most of their time in meditation and writing books on the science of Bhakti Yoga. Some of their original works, written on parchment leaves, have been preserved and can be seen at the Vrindavana Research Institute, as well as at the British Museum in London. The fame of the Six Goswamis spread so far and wide that even Emperor Akbar decided to pay a visit to Vrindavana in the year 1570. Jiva Goswami led him blindfolded into the sacred kunja of Nihuvana. So great was the emperor's spiritual experience there, that to commemorate the event, he granted permission to construct 4 grand temples dedicated to Lord Krishna. The temples were Govindaji, Gopinata, Madana-mohana and Jugal Kaisor. The emperor also donated funds to set up a library for the preservation of the Goswamis books at Radha temple. Akbar even provided first-class sandstone, normally reserved for the emperor's palaces and forts. Such was his appreciation for the 6 Goswamis. Unfortunately, 100 years later, these same temples were desecrated by the soldiers of Emperor Aurangzeb, the Muslim zealot, in the year 1670. The 7 original and most important temples of Vrindavana. 7 Goswami temples. Sri Radha Madana-mohana Mandira, Sri Radha Govindaji Mandira, Sri Radha Gopinata Mandira, Sri Radha Damodara Mandira, Sri Radha Shyam Sundar Mandira, Sri Radhamana Mandira, Sri Radha Gokulananda Mandira,
Shri Radha Madan-mohan Mandir.
After the disappearance of Lord Krishna, Yudhisthira Maharaj along with his brothers retired to the Himalayas and coronated Parikshit Maharaj as the king of Hastinapur. Vrindavana, the great-grandson of Lord Krishna, was made the king of Vrajadam. Vrindavana understood that after Lord Krishna's disappearance many of his pastime places had disappeared. He sat on the banks of the Yamuna under a kalpavriksha tree and prayed to Lord Krishna to reveal his eternal abode. Krishna revealed the transcendental places of his pastimes in Vrindavana to him. Vrindavana excavated many of those places and called for Vishvakarma to carve deities to be installed in those places. The first deity that was carved was Sri Madana-mohana, followed by Sri Radha Govinda and Sri Radha Gopinath. Adara, who had personally seen Krishna, confirmed the special features of these deities. While Madana-mohana revealed Krishna's body below his waist, Radha Govindaji revealed his beautiful smiling face and Radha Gopinathji revealed his flute-playing hands. The deity of Madana-mohana was lost for many years. The residents of Mahavana felt very fortunate to have Sanatana amongst them. Sanatana decided to stay at Mahavana for the darshan of Madan Gopal every day. Madan Gopal used to play in Ramanika, Ramana Reddy, the sandy beach of the Jamuna. One day Madan Gopal came to play just like a cowherd boy with the other boys of Mahavana. Seeing the divine way the boy played, Sanatana thought that this cowherd boy could not be an ordinary child. When the boys had finished playing, Sanatana followed Madan Gopal home. He saw the boys enter the temple, but by the time Sanatana entered he saw only Madan-mohan deity instead of Madan Gopal the cowherd boy. Sanatana bowed before the deity and returned to his own place saying nothing to anyone. This Madan Gopal was completely controlled by the devotional love of Sanatana. Sanatana once saw Sri Madan Gopala playing with his friends on the bank of the Jamuna. Madan Gopala, who was bound by the love of Sanatana, also appeared in his dream and said, "I do not like living in Mahavana. I want to stay in your cottage." Then he disappeared, leaving Sanatana in an ecstatic state of mind. Advaita Acharya discovered the original deity of Madan-mohan in Mahavangakal and served him in Vrindavana at the base of an old vat tree, where he was performing his bhajana, now known as Advaitavita, which is just below the Dvadasaditya hill. When Advaita Prabhu was due to leave for Bengal, he left Madana-mohana in the care of a Brahmana named Chabi, who kept him just like one of his own children. Many years passed. Both Rupa and Sanatana used to go to Mathura for collecting alms, Madhukari, and it so happened that Sanatana Goswami visited the house of that same Brahmana. He received a sudden shock when he saw that Chabi's children were playing with Madana-mohana. He immediately called Chabi and chastised him for not showing proper respect to the deity, and then explained to him all the rules and regulations of proper deity worship. That night, on returning to Vrindavana, Sanatana had a dream in which Madana-mohana told him that he had been very happy living in the Brahmana's house as one of his children. But now that the Brahmana had introduced so many rules and regulations, he was not happy anymore. The same night, the Brahmana also had a dream in which Madana-mohana told him that, as you have so many children, and Sanatana has none, so please give me to Sanatana. The next morning, Sanatana Goswami rushed to the Brahmana's house to apologize and ask forgiveness, but to his surprise, the Brahmana requested him to take Madana-mohana. At first, Sanatana refused because he was not able to offer nice food to Madana-mohana, as he lived only on dry chapatis. Later the same night in another dream, Madana-mohana told Sanatana that he would accept whatever Sanatana offered him. Sanatana Goswami then brought Madana-mohana to Vrindavana, to the place where he did his bhajana situated on the top of the hill named Vadasaditya, and kept the deity in a nearby tree. Sanatana regularly offered simple dried chapatis, but one day Madana-mohana suddenly asked for some salt. Sanatana then told Madana-mohana, "Just see, now you want salt and tomorrow you will want sweets. I am an old man and have so many books to write, so please just accept this dried chapati." It so happened that same day, that a wealthy merchant from Multan in Punjab, was taking 3 large boats full of other merchandise down the river to Agra for sale in the local market. When passing Kalayagata, the boats got stuck on a sandbank and could not move. In great anxiety, the merchant, whose name was Ramdasa Kapoor, came ashore to find help, when suddenly Madana-mohana in the guise of a beautiful cowherd boy came there and advised Ramdasa to seek the help of Sanatana Goswami, a saint who lived on the Vadasaditya hill. On climbing the hill, Ramdasa Kapoor saw Sanatana Goswami engaged in his bhajana and asked him if he could help free his boat. Sanatana then advised him that he should pray to Madana-mohana, as only he could help him. Sure enough, when Ramdasa prayed to Madana-mohana, a storm suddenly appeared and it rained heavily, thus swelling the river and miraculously freeing the boats from the sandbank. Ramdasa was overjoyed and promised to return after finishing his business in Agra. Within a short time Ramdasa Kapoor returned, having sold all his merchandise for a handsome profit, and wanted to hand the full amount over to Sanatana, in appreciation for the help he had received from Madana-mohana. Sanatana asked him to build a nice temple for Madana-mohana, which he did. He also built a gata below, all out of fine red sandstone. Now I will explain how Sri Radha and Sri Lalita arrived in Vrindavana. This is explained in Bhakti Ratnakara. When the Govinda deity was manifested, there was no Radhika deity with him. Lord Madana-mohana also appeared alone. The manner in which they got their consorts will now be narrated in brief. Prasatamajana was the son of King Prataparudra. He was an accomplished and beautiful boy. When he learned that the 2 deities were being worshipped without their consorts, he sent 2 deities of Radhathakarani with utmost care and devotion. When the deities reached Vrindavana, the Vraja became very happy. Sri Madan Mohan joyfully told his priest in a dream, 2 images of Sri Radha have been sent, but the sender does not know that actually one is of Sri Radha and the other is of Sri Lalita. Go without delay and bring the 2 deities. The smaller one is of Sri Radha, and so place her on the left. The larger one is Lalita, so place her on the right. The priest left as soon as he heard the Lord's instructions. He brought the 2 deities and installed them as he had been instructed. This 60-foot-high temple was opened in 1580 on a 50-foot hill called Vadasaditya Tila, next to Yamuna. This was the first temple built in Vrindavan, which at that time was just a forest. The original deity of Madana-mohana was taken to Karali in Rajasthan for safety during the attack on Vrindavana by the soldiers of the fanatical Muslim emperor, Aurangzeb.
श्री श्री राधा मदन मोहन मंदिर।
Just next to the temple is the Vajana Kutirya of Sanatana Goswami, who also worshipped Madana-mohana in a tree before the temple was built. Next to the Vajana Kutirya is a well made by the flute of Madana-mohana, so that Sanatana Goswami, in his old age, did not have to go very far to get water. Well made by the flute of Madana-mohana. This is the hill where Sanatana Goswami used to perform his bhajana and worship his beloved deity Madana-mohana by keeping him up in a tree. Sanatana Goswami came to Vrindavana in the year 1516, along with his brother Srila Goswami. At a later time, the temple of Madana-mohana was built on this very same hill. After chastising the serpent Kalaya, Lord Krishna, feeling cold from being in the water for a long time, climbed this hill and lay down to rest in the sunshine. At that time, the 12 forms of Aditya, Surya the sun god, appeared here as 12 blazing suns in order to prevent Krishna from catching a cold. Due to the intense heat, Lord Krishna started to perspire, and the perspiration from Krishna's body caused a small lake to appear known as Prashkandanagata. This is the place where Advaita Acharya stayed and performed his bhajana while visiting Vrindavana. He served Sri Madana-mohana at this place. When he left for Bengal, he kept the deity at Mathura with a brahmana called Chabi. In 1558, Srila Sanatana Goswami entered Samadhi and his body was entombed in a small garden on the side of Vadasaditya Tila just behind the Madana-mohana temple. Sanatana Goswami's family hailed from Karnataka, and although Sarasvata Brahmanas by caste, his forefathers became powerful kings in the region. Some members of this family moved to Bengal, and this is where Sanatana was born in the year 1488. Sanatana had two younger brothers, Rupa and Anyapama, and all three of them were great devotees of the Lord as well as learned scholars. Besides Sanskrit, they also knew Persian and Arabic. Their fame as learned men spread far and wide. The ruler of Bengal, Hussain Shah, heard about the good qualities of the brothers and devised a plan to induct them into the government. At that time, no high-class man wanted to be associated with the Muslim Yavanas, therefore Hussain Shah threatened to kill many Brahmanas and harass the Hindu community unless Sanatana and his brothers joined the government. Not wishing to be the cause of distress to the Hindu community, the brothers agreed to accept positions in the government of Hussain Shah. Sanatana was appointed as the private secretary and given the name Sarkar-e-Malik. Rupa was appointed as finance minister and was called Dabarkaz. Anyapama became the superintendent of the royal mint. They were given great wealth for their services. Sanatana and Rupa were the greatest Vaishnava Pandits, scholars, of the day, and had studied under the great teacher Vidyavachaspati, the brother of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Sanatana and Rupa heard about the wonderful activities of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and in their hearts the brothers had decided to surrender their lives to the Lord. Both brothers decided to retire from government service and dedicate themselves to the mission of Lord Chaitanya. Rupa Goswami retired first and left for Allahabad, where he again met Lord Chaitanya. The Lord then sent him to Vrindavana. Sanatana was not so fortunate. When he tried to retire from service, Hussain Shah threw him into jail. After bribing the jailer with a huge sum of money, Sanatana managed to escape and met Lord Chaitanya at Varanasi. After instructing Sanatana Goswami on the science of Bhakti Yoga, the Lord sent him to Vrindavana. Also in this garden are the Puspasamatis of Madana-mohana and Chandrasekhara Akriya, who were close associates of Lord Chaitanya. When Lord Chaitanya visited Benares, Kazi, he stayed and took prasada at the houses of these two devotees. Tapan Misra was the father of Vrindavana Goswami. When Lord Chaitanya was on the way to Vrindavana and also on his return journey, he visited Benares, Kazi, where both these devotees were living. The Lord would stay at the house of Chandrasekhara and take his meals at the house of Tapan Misra. Also here in this garden is the Grantha Samadhi containing the sacred books of the Six Goswamis. This is the only Samadhi in existence that contains sacred books, Granthas. The books entombed here are believed to be most of the original manuscripts of the Goswamis that were written on palm leaves.
श्री श्री राधा गोविंद जी मंदिर।
Rupa Goswami searched all over Vrindavan to locate the Yogapith, the resting place of the original deity of Govindaji, but after months of searching, the deity could not be found. Rupa Goswami, feeling disappointed, came and sat by the bank of the Yamuna and shedding tears, began calling the name of Lord Chaitanya, Ha Chaitanya, Ha Chaitanya, O Chaitanya. Suddenly, Lord Krishna in the guise of a beautiful Brijvasi boy appeared and informed Rupa Goswami that a cow came every day to a nearby hillock, and emptied its milk into a hole on the hilltop. He asked Rupa to accompany him to the place and see what might be in the hole. Rupa Goswami followed the boy and upon reaching the spot, the boy disappeared. Looking within the milk-drenched hole, Rupa Goswami immediately fell unconscious in a wave of ecstatic emotions. When he recovered, he summoned the local people who excavated the hole and found the beautiful deity of Lord Govinda. The loud cries of He Govinda, He Krishna suddenly reverberated throughout the sky. Now I will explain how Sri Radhika arrived in Vrindavana. This is explained in Bhakti Ratnakara. When the pastime of maiden Gopala and two deities of Sri Radha and Sri Lalita sent by Purushottamajana became known, it generated great interest amongst the Vaisnavas. When Purushottamajana heard the wonderful story, he was overwhelmed with joy. He wanted to send a consort for Sri Govinda, but his attempts were all in vain. With an anxious mind he fell asleep one day and Sri Radhika appeared in his dream. She softly instructed Purushottamajana, "Send me to Sri Govinda as soon as possible." Everyone knows that the deity of the consort of Sri Jagannatha in Kakravra is Sri Radhika. I have been living in Kakravra for a long time as a Lakshmi Thakurani, but no one knows this. After revealing herself as Radhika and not Lakshmi Thakurani, she disappeared. After this vision, Purushottamajana rushed to Kakravra to see things for himself. In this context I shall narrate how Radhika remained at Kakravra. Once Sri Radhika came to Utkala from Vrindavana to bless her faithful devotees. In the village Radhanagar in Utkala there lived a Brahmin of South Indian origin. His name was Vrindavana, and as a devout Vaishnava he was well known for his scholarship. Vrindavana worshipped Radhika in the form of his daughter. He served Sri Radha as his own daughter for a few years as an example of the mercy of Radha, and such mercy might not have been possible. I am not competent to describe the love of Sri Vrindavana. He would consider a second to be an intolerably long period if he could not see Radha, for she meant everything to him. At an old age the Brahmin expired and the king heard the news from the local people. The king of Kakravra, who was dearly devoted to Lord Jagannath, went to Radhanagar to see the celestial deity. As the king was considering what to do, Sri Radhika appeared in his dream. "Take me immediately to the temple of Jagannath and keep me there," said the deity. The king obeyed the order happily. With utmost care he stored Radhika in Kakravra, in the beautiful temple of Sri Jagannatha. Because she spent a long time in Kakravra, everyone began to think she was a Lakshmi. Because she was worshipped as a Lakshmi, Radha gradually transformed herself into the fullest form of Sri Lakshmi. Who can understand the divine pastimes of Sri Radha, who lived in Kakravra as a Lakshmi? When it was time to go to Vrindavana, she informed Purushottamajana her desire. After receiving her command in his dream, the prince carefully and respectfully sent the image to Vrindavana accompanied by a large number of people. Everyone in Gauda and Utkala came to know that Sri Radha had moved from Sri Kshetra to Vrindavana. On the day Sri Radha entered Vrindavana, the ocean of happiness overflowed its banks. She was placed on the left of Sri Govinda, creating a beautiful sight. The beauty of Sri Govinda accompanied by Sri Radhika is beyond anyone's description. Thus Sri Radhika arrived in Vrindavana. The construction of the temple of Sri Radha Govinda began under the guidance of Rediscovering Goswami and his disciples headed by Raja Man Singh of Jaipur sometime after 1570. It was the most impressive edifice that Hindu art had ever produced in the whole of northern India. It towered into the sky 7 stories high and was built on top of the hill where the deity was first discovered, making it the tallest building in this part of India. The temple was completed in 1590. Less than 100 years later, Emperor Aurangzeb, the Muslim zealot, was standing on the ramparts of his fort at Agra, and noticed a bright light burning in the far distance. Upon being informed that this was a large ghee lamp kept atop the Sri Radha Govinda temple in Vrindavana, he became furious that a Hindu shrine was taller than any Muslim building and immediately ordered its destruction. By the time the soldiers arrived, Lord Govindadeva and all the important deities of Vrindavana had been moved to safer places. The soldiers of Aurangzeb dismantled the top floors of the Govindaji temple and desecrated the sanctum sanctorum as well as mutilated all the stone carvings within the temple. The original deities are now in Jaipur in the palace grounds of the Maharaja. The deity in this temple is the Pratibhamurti replica, which is considered to be non-different from the original deity.
श्री श्री राधा गोविंद जी मंदिर।
This is the very spot where Srila Rupa Goswami found the Govindaji deity. A special chapel was built to the left side of the main altar and a small deity of Yagamaya was installed here along with the lotus footprints of Lord Govinda. This deity of Yagamaya, Lord Krishna's sister, was also worshipped by the Goswami. During the attack by Aurangzeb on Vrindavana, the deity of Yagamaya was hidden and later reinstalled in the same chapel. Once has to ask the pujari, priest, for darshan of the Yogapitha.
श्री श्री राधा गोपीनाथ मंदिर।
This deity was worshipped by Matu Pandita Goswami, one of the close associates of Lord Chaitanya. The deity was rediscovered at Vamsivada by Paramananda Bhattacharya, who gave the deity to Matu Pandita. This temple was also desecrated by the soldiers of Aurangzeb in 1670 and a new temple was constructed just behind the old one. The original Gopinath deity is in Jaipur, where he was sent for safekeeping. The deity in this temple is the Pratibhamurti replica, which is considered to be non-different from the original deity. There is a very nice story of how Ananga Manjari appeared on the altar at Gopinath temple. Normally in all temples Radharani stands on the right of Krishna, but in this temple she stands on the left and Ananga Manjari stands on the right. In the late 16th century when Lord Nityananda's eternal consort Janavamata visited Vrindavana, she felt that the deity of Radharani at the Gopinath temple was too small. On her return to Bengal she had a new deity of Radharani carved and sent it to Vrindavana. This new deity of Radharani was then installed on the right side of Lord Gopinath and a smaller one moved to the left side. It so happened that all the devotees visiting the Gopinath temple concluded that the new deity looked more like Janavamata than Radharani. This was because the new deity was carved by one of Janavamata's Dharmo's disciples. The devotees soon came to realize that the newly installed deity was in fact Anangamanjari, Radharani's younger sister, of whom Majanava is a direct expansion. Some devotees felt that out of her immense love for her younger sister, Radharani consented to allow Anangamanjari to stand in her own place next to Lord Gopinath, allowing her the chance of serving the divine couple to her heart's content. It would appear that Anangamanjari has her very own transcendental way of appearing on the altar so she may eternally render loving service to the lotus feet of Sri Sri Radha Gopinath. Another very interesting point is that when Lord Balrama, Krishna's elder brother, desires to take part in the amorous pastimes of conjugal love between Radha and Krishna and the gopis, he expands himself and becomes none other than Anangamanjari, the younger sister of Radharani. On the side of this temple is the Samadhi, tomb, of Sri Madhu Pandita Goswami.
श्री श्री राधा गोपीनाथ मंदिर।
To be continued in Vrindavana, Part 2, Vraja Mandal, UP, India.